It's the year 5000 BC, and man live in a world without metal. No knives, no tools, no weapons as we know them today. Everything you use is made of stone, wood, or bone. But then they spot something glinting in the dirt, a reddish little chunk, unremarkable yet strangely beautiful. They pick it up, strike it, bend it, and realize it's soft, shiny, and reusable. What you're holding isn't just a rock. They were holding the beginning of a technological revolution. The earliest traces of copper working come from regions like Anatolia, Iran, and modern-day Iraq. Here, around 6000 to 5000 BC, people began collecting naturally occurring copper, pure metal lying near the surface, often in shiny, eye-catching chunks. They used it to make jewelry, hooks, and small tools. At first, they only hammered it, cold, simple, direct. But then they made a discovery that changed everything. Copper could melt. Fire, once used only for cooking, became a tool to shape metal. This was the first step in the story of metallurgy. At first, copper was hammered by hand, but that made it brittle. Within about 500 years, people discovered something better: heating and casting. They built simple furnaces, charcoal-filled pits boosted by air currents or early blowpipes. Temperatures could rise above 1000 degrees Celsius. And here's the brilliant part. They made molds out of clay or stone. They poured the molten copper inside, let it cool. What came out? Axes, knives, needles, jewelry, tiny figurines. With no modern tools, they built something astonishing. A complete system to shape, control, and master metal. In Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates, copper was used mainly for practical tools and weapons, a functional metal full of promise. But about 1,000 years later in ancient Egypt, copper took on a deeper meaning. There, copper was linked to the gods, the sun, and eternal life. Copper artifacts were placed in tombs, polished to a mirror shine, sometimes even gilded, because to carry copper into the afterlife was to carry power. What did copper change? Copper didn't just change what people could make, it changed how people lived. For the first time, there was specialization. People who devoted themselves entirely to one craft, metalworking. No longer just farmers or hunters, but full-time artisans who mastered fire and stone. And because copper wasn't found everywhere, something else emerged: trade. Villages began trading copper for grain, salt, or textiles. Later, merchants traveled hundreds, even thousands of kilometers from Anatolia to Mesopotamia, from Egypt to the Levant, all in search of that one red metal. And as always, when something is rare and valuable, it becomes powerful. Those who owned copper or knew how to work it gained respect, influence. In Varna, Bulgaria, people were buried with more copper than entire villages owned. They weren't kings, there were no palaces, but they had wealth and status because of metal. Copper became the key to something bigger: social classes, professions, trade systems, civilization itself. And then came the next leap. People discovered that mixing copper with tin created bronze, harder, stronger, more durable, perfect for tools and weapons. The Bronze Age began, and with it, cities, kingdoms, warfare, and inventions that shaped our world. Today, we still use copper in electricity, in buildings, in technology. But long ago, it started as a glimmering little chunk in the hands of a curious human. It was the first metal we ever mastered, the first spark of industrial civilization. So next time you see a copper coin or a cable carrying electricity, think back to that moment, to this video. Did you find this fascinating? Then you might enjoy these videos too. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments what you liked or see next until the next discovery.